I'm going to show you a video on how to access the heater shut motor on a 2002 Mitsubishi Galant. On these, it's a little bit tricky. I didn't know what to think. Most cars have a heater control valve that is near the firewall. You look on the firewall, you can see those two hose clamps going in there. Those lines, or those hoses, actually carry antifreeze that's hot into the cabin to go into a little mini radiator, the heater core, and that's where your vehicle gets its heat from. Well, in the summertime and you want to have your air conditioning on full blast, what it does is it shuts off the flow of the hot antifreeze so that it's only cold evaporator on the inside, for air conditioning. Had a little brain freeze there, could you tell? So anyway, where this is located is, instead of putting it under the hood like most car manufacturers do, which is a really good idea. If you're a car maker and you're watching this video, there's a lot of Mitsubishi owners out there that are kind of pissed. So you don't want to be in that boat. You want to produce something quality that people like and will buy again and again. Like Hondas and Toyotas, people like those because they have a good track record. That's a reputation. Anyway, I'm going to get to the point here. Here's how you do this. The first couple of things you want to do is you want to pull this panel out. It snaps out and then pulls. It's got these little body clips that correspond to those holes there. So you take that out and set it aside, assuming you've already disconnected the battery on the car. That's the first thing, of course. Once you've done that, the next thing you do is you open the glove box. Pretend there's a glove box here. You just open the latch, and then it'll come to a certain point, and then these little tabs on the sides will hold it open. There's one on this side and one on this side. You'll notice that there's a little bit of a bend. It bows in a little bit. You push in where it bows in and it'll allow you to open it all the way. And then once you get it all the way open, it's hanging on the hooks. The reason I didn't stage this is because it's hard to do with, or I didn't leave it put together, is because it's hard to do with just one hand on a camera and one hand doing the job. So you've got this pulled. The reason why you pull the side panel is that there's a screw right here for the lower plastic portion of the dash that needs to come out. You got to pull also this side, where the steering wheel is. You have to pull the screws out of the top. There's three. There's one in the corner here, one on the other side of the steering wheel, and one at the end. And then there's also a little fuse panel that you got to pull on the outside. You open the door to get to that. And then once you pull that off, there's another screw at the bottom. So you just pull that down, let it hang. The reason that you pull that is that down on this side, there's another screw that you got to get to. So you pull that screw, and then up here at the top, near the instrument cluster, there's a screw there. You got to pull that one. So once you get those done, you take a screwdriver and you gently insert it. I like to do it on the top line here, or on the bottom line here. You see this is kind of a structural crease here. So I start at the top here, I pry back, and then pop that free. It's already been popped, that's why it came out so easy. And you fish that out. What I do is I put the pocket over the gear shifter, and then you're able to just pick it up and then set it aside. You just stick it up on the dash if you like. That's what I usually do. So the next thing you want to do is that there's three screws on each side. There's two that hold the HVAC controls, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. So you pull those three screws, pull the other three screws, and then your HVAC is just loose like that. Once you get that down and out of the way, pull the rest of the screws out of this. There's some across the top, some across the bottom. When you pull on it, you can kind of feel where it still feels stuck. If it still feels stuck, then you know that you've got a screw there. Up until the end, it'll feel stuck on the base here. Just do it because of its shape. Clear this top portion here, this corner, and then once you get that out, you can grasp it near the grip gear shift and plop it out of the way. You just put it all on the driver's side. You won't be needing access to that. The next thing you want to do is underneath the battery, or not the battery, the radio, there's one screw that comes out of the radio right here, and then it sits on a shelf here. It sits on another shelf up here. It's weird looking through the viewfinder. And it also cues up on this little tab here. So you push up on the radio, get it off of one side, get it off the other side. You can see that it's just floppy loose now. And then you just pull it straight out. And then you just set it aside. Yeah, I'm busted. I didn't disconnect the battery because I'm kind of a rebel like that. So anyway, the next thing you want to do is once you get the radio out of the way, you'll find that there's a screw in this little HVAC vent here. It's right down at the bottom. I'm going to try to get a good view of it. You can see where I'm poking with the screwdriver. Of course, I've already pulled it out, and then I put it together for you guys to give a good video of it. Now this vent right here is in the way of that infamous heater shut valve. They didn't even call it a heater control valve. They called it a heater shut valve. That's because it's that ghetto. You can tell I'm not a fan of this design. This is an embarrassment to Mitsubishi in my opinion. So anyway, especially, you know, a lot of girls drive these cars, and if I know anything about girls, they like to be warm, they like to be comfortable, and so, you know, if your car's not keeping you warm from a stupid, you know, poor design part, you know, shame on the people that made it. So anyway, that's a little tab where the screw secures it on. It's also taped on with a thing to help make it not vibrate and make noise. On this side, there's a little push tab. You can see that hole right there. So you'll usually just give it a good tug and it'll pop out, and then you can retrieve it later. It's just a little, you know, push pin like this. It just falls onto the floor. Okay, now the glorious moment. We're here. I'm gonna pan out so you can see. That's the view of the dash. Now where this heater shut valve is it's located underneath the dash, right up in there. Now those pipes that I showed you that go in through the firewall, they come to this point right here, and then there's a little valve that shuts off the flow of antifreeze. Now the way that this works is on your HVAC controls. Let's see if I can get this radio out of the way. On your heater controls, whenever you switch this, it's done electronically. Whenever you switch it all the way to cold, which is all the way over to this side, it engages this little motor. Oh, just about dropped you there. This is airbag stuff, so you want to be gentle and careful with that, or else your airbag light will come on and your stuff will disarm. But basically, you see this little white arm here? That's the control arm for this valve. You can see the mechanical aspect of it here. This is the actual heater control valve, and this is the heater control shut motor, as they call it. And this is what fails. You'll get a clunking sound or a ticking sound when you go from cold to hot, or you turn on your heater. It's automatically set to fail to the cold position, which, you know, you could argue if that's a good idea or not. I'm not going to do that. But basically, this little thing controls the way that this opens and closes, which allows hot antifreeze to go into that little mini radiator, which creates heat, the heater core. So anyway, that's it. To get it out, some people like to pull the airbag, some people don't. It just depends, it's up to you. But it's just screwed into the housing there. To get one of these from the dealership is $150. That's the only place I've been able to find them. You can also rig up something to just change that manually if you don't want to mess with it because you think it's a dumb design. And, you know, like switch it, you know, if your air conditioning's not quite cold enough for you in the summer, flip it to shut that off, and, you know, leave it on the rest of the time, I would say. So anyway, because it only shuts off the flow of antifreeze when you're in the very, very cold position. So I hope this is helpful to you. My guess is that it's been very helpful to you. If that's the case, be sure to rate this video 5 stars. That'll help promote it and help more people, including myself. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching the video, and feel free to subscribe if you'd like to learn more. If you want to keep reference of this, you can click on the favorites, and it'll add the video to your favorites so you can refer to it again if you need to during the process. So anyway, cheers, love you.